So I'm going to use a wells fragment here. So I draw a circle, a dot, and then just like the wells grid, I'm going to extend it to 4 sides, right? So tracing a part of the orb and drawing the wells grid. So take your time and slowly do that exercise inside each of the sections, either in the same direction or in alternating directions. In each of the ways you will get a different kind of a meta pattern. Yeah, so take your time, spaces are small, patiently do that exercise for each of the sections. So this is the wells grid, and it is very versatile. It can be used for a number of things. Yeah, so you can use it in different ways, but originally it is the wells grid, generally used to draw the tangle wells. Yeah, yeah, and you can leave this section as it is, or you can just ink alternate sections. They are too small to draw the fragment, so this is one way to deal with it. Yeah, so done with that exercise, let's move to another section. So this section again, let us use another different kind of a grid. Remember the grid that we used for enzeppel? Let's use that grid. There is a tangle called enzeppel in which we use this grid, right? I have drawn a square grid, and then I'm going to draw a cross inside each. Right? So that's another grid. Now it is up to you. How do you want to use the grid? So let's use it for another new fragment. I have drawn a cross in the center. And this is the tangle quilts, which can be used very much like a fragment, and it is capable of again forming beautiful meta patterns. Right? So I've drawn a plus sign in the center, and now joining each of these points with the opposite corner of the bigger square, like this. Yeah, so a plus sign, and join these ends of the plus to the corner facing it, tapering it down to the corner. Tangle pattern quilts used as a fragment here. Right? So take your time, enjoy the strokes, enjoy your creation, simple lines, and how beautifully they culminate to form a new pattern. Yeah? So that's the tangle and the fragment quilts, right? You have these small spaces. If you want, you can add some zen by adding some inking there, or you can leave it as it is. Yeah, that's entirely up to you. I'm just inserting small little diamonds, and it highlights the pattern a little more. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So we are done with this fragment also. Let's move to another section. So let's try out some more different types of grids, right? So I'm now going to try the jongle grid. Again, kind of straight lines, and then I'm going to use the jongle grid. Zigzag lines, but each of them running parallel to each other as far as one column is concerned. That's the jongle grid. Yeah, and then again choose another fragment of your choice, whichever you feel like. Let's see which one have we not used yet. Yeah, so let's use two different types of fragments here, two new ones, right? So I'm going to add this C shape. We use this shape couple of times, and then I'm going to add some lines like these, just that I'm going to add some weight at the beginning where the lines start, right? Simple to draw. So let's go ahead with this. Again, change the direction a little bit, and then draw some lines, and then add some weight to the lines, right? I'm also going to add a line here and add a line here. So you create this beautiful space in between. Now up to you, how do you want to use it? Again, thick line and thin line, and some lines, add some weight to the lines, like this. Yeah, again, simple fragment to draw. Add some weight to the lines. Yeah, that's the fragment. Now this section, either you can leave it the way it is, or you can add something else, right? So I'm just going to add some lines probably. So this is combining two fragments together. right? So this one we are actually playing around with two fragments. Yeah, so let's do that for this part also. Not much space there. Yeah, again this section. Take your time, enjoy the strokes. I think we are done with this. Now the in between section, you can either go with the same or you can add something else, right? So let's keep it simple. I'm just going to add one fescue like this and the other one like this. I think we have done this fragment before also. Yeah. Enjoy the strokes. Take your time. Yeah, I think we are done. Right? So that's how we have used one more grid, and these are two new fragments, right? So moving on to another section, let's use some simple fragments. So I'm just going to divide this into some big squares, right? And then add a fragment which looks somewhat like, it's a very organic looking fragment. Petal shapes, right? I'm sorry, yeah, this is the fragment. I think I went out of focus. Yeah, so this is the fragment. I'm going to draw it again. Yeah, petal shapes on both sides. Yeah, very organic looking. Stem, petal shapes, stem, petal shapes, stem, petal shapes, yeah. So that's the fragment. Now it is up to you, what do you do with the rest of the spaces, right? So entirely up to us. So I'm just going to add a moon and add some auras. right? Since I have a bigger grid here, so I can do that. You can always go back and fill in the small little spaces in between the petals, just like you do for the tangle vinix. It will add some character to your fragment. Yeah. So take your time and slowly add these half moons. If your grid is also that big, if not, then just skip that. I have spaces here, so I'm doing that. This is again combining two fragments. Or a fragment and a tangle, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Missed here. Nice petal shapes. Yeah, I think we are done. Yeah. Let's move on to another section, try another reticula. So we drew this fragment wherein we drew the inside of the orb just like the tangled twile, right? We can also do a slight change in the fragment and we end up creating a different fragment. So this is again a square grid. You can always add another square inside. So this becomes another different reticula. So take your time and first create this reticula, this grid for your fragment. Right? So once you are done with that, now another way to do this fragment, right, is to give a slight curve. Instead of taking it straight, you can give it a curve. Instead of bringing it down, you can give it a curve. Instead of taking it straight, give it a curve. Like this. Yeah, again I'll show you. Instead of drawing the line straight here, taking it up to the border, you can give it a curve. Again, curve, again, curve, again, curve. Yeah, so the curves are more or less in the same direction. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right, so curve is in the opposite direction, right? It's a reverse C that I am drawing. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yeah, so this becomes another fragment. Right? Yeah, I think we are done. That's another fragment in another reticula. right? I think we missed a portion here. Yeah. So let's try out some more different kinds of reticulum as we are trying in this session, right? Again, I've drawn this, and then I'm going to add some lines. So this is a normal square grid. However, I'm now going to insert an orb at each of these intersections like this, right? So that gives me another grid. Don't worry about the size of the orb. How did it look like? That's why I'm calling them orbs. That's okay. Right? So that's one more kind of grid that you can use. Now already there are lines in between, right? So another nice fragment that you can do here looks something like circus in a circle. Remember the tangled circus that we did? Yeah, it's a Zentangle original, and this is how it goes. So I'm going to aura each of the 4 sections, and if you do not draw it inside a circle, it looks like the tangled circus, and that is how it is drawn. Yeah, so take your time and do that exercise for all. Yeah, enjoy the strokes. I'm going to do that for all. And again, you have these in between spaces. It would be a nice idea, I think, to ink them, or you can add some bronze shears, something like this. Both will look nice, but something which is more bold so that the lines stand out. Yeah. So I'm now in the process of filling up the intersectices, the small little spaces in between, adding orbs, but like bronze shears, because I'm highlighting them a little more than I would in a tipple. Yeah. So take your time and do that exercise. So let us now try another grid. We have some more spaces left here, right? So what I'm going to do is again draw a square grid. However, this time a little, just like diamonds, giving a slight, and then going to insert ovals inside each. Yeah, real fun. Trying different kinds of grids, fitting in our reticula in different shapes. Yeah. Again, you can add some prominence to these intersections if you want. And then choose a fragment of your choice for the inside, right? Let's choose a simple fragment. I'm going to add moon on one side and add add some lines, not perfect lines, a little bit of highlight there, right? What you can also do is add an aura inside and then do the same exercise. Yeah, even that is possible. Yeah, add an aura inside, add a moon, and aura the moon. So if you change the direction of the grid, you change the direction of the moons, again you will create different kinds of patterns. So that's how this simple fragment looks like when I inserted those moons inside each of the oval shapes. Yeah, simple exercise to do. Right, so let's try something more. Let's try some new reticula. So we have not really used double line on both sides, right? So let's see if we use a square grid. However, we will use both horizontal and vertical double lines with aura. However, they will not be intersecting. I'm going to draw behind. Right, so that's one more fun reticula. Now again, up to you, what do you want to insert inside. So I'm just going to add triangles with a mingle like this. Yeah, another simple fragment which can be used in triangle. So take your time and slowly insert a mingle in each of the sides like this. Yeah, so a mingle is another Zentangle original, originally drawn in a square. However, you can always adapt it to any shape, right? Right, so this is another beautiful fragment. I'm again going to re-emphasize certain lines here. Right, done with that, small little things that you can do. Now let us pick up one more section. This is a small section here. I'm just going to divide it into two triangles and probably insert a simple fragment that we learned earlier.